And as an American citizen who spent the entirety of high school outside of the United States during the COVID-19 pandemic, there's something I learned about relativity in regards to majorities and minorities that I don't think many people within the United States have actually considered. So please take my blessing of a bird's eye view that has also been a curse. It comes with its pros and cons. So I'm going to just disclose that right now. Democracy originated not in America, but back in Europe, mainly the Mediterranean, mainly Greece. And part of this idea of democracy, right? What's the main part of democracy? Is that the people have a voice and then majority rules. That's essentially democracy. You vote, and whoever is the majority wins the democratic vote. So there's actually a lot of problems there. You may think, oh yeah, democracy, that's a lot better than a dictatorship, which off rip, like, yes, it's better than a dictatorship. But when you take the word democracy and you make M-O-C-K capitalized, you have a sneaky, subtle dictatorship. That's what I want to bring to our attention. When your democracy is based off abusing statistics and abusing and misusing the ambiguity of a majority in a given area, that is no longer democracy. That's manipulation of democracy that makes it a secret dictatorship. When I'm living in Costa Rica, I all of a sudden become a minority. Should I then start advocating for white rights in Costa Rica? No, because there's then the nuance of history in the context of the area. As soon as I come back to the United States, I'm a majority. But then that's an interesting subject in and of itself, because when you look at the history of how white people became a majority in this country, we forced ourselves to do that. So when we have these white people who are afraid of the Great Replacement theory, it's because deep down, in their soul, in their genes, they understand that we're cheaters. And eventually, this cheating game isn't going to work anymore because evolution's a thing. And cheaters are a threat to evolution. And so anybody who's getting cheated by the cheaters learns to adapt and survive the threat, this threat being lying, manipulating cheaters. So those people are held back in a way they can't put into words because that's the way in which they've been held back by society. So they have a lot to validly be angry about, but the only solution is being angry at the parts of themselves that are a product of the generations that came before them. Like, I am existing right here, right now, today, only thanks to everything that came before me. And that's messy. That's complicated. That's a lot to think about. That'll give a lot of people an existential crisis that they don't always get through. In fact, it gives them an existential crisis that they often use religion and spirituality to cope with. So racism, majorities, minorities, that's all a relative concept. Never forget that. Let's not let America spread to other parts of the world just because we're afraid of spreading it to other parts of the world. And if that was complicated to understand, if that didn't make sense, so many expats in Costa Rica didn't realize that they were spreading the American culture they hated so much that they were running away from. They were spreading it to these tourist locations simply by being there and participating in the economy in the privileged, convenient way that they've been taught to participate in the economy with. So, centralized air conditioning doesn't just magically fall from the sky and wind up in Costa Rica. White people and black people assimilated to white, privileged, convenience, comfort culture, typically coming from the United States, they bring it there. They're like, oh, it's hot and there's bugs, so I'm going to seal off the windows, have centralized air conditioning, and then everybody starts doing that, and oh, what's happening to the environment around you? Oh, more roads get paved because these bumpy roads mess up my car's suspension, so I want to pave all the roads. But then what starts to happen? The roads start heating up. You start normalizing cars. You have to make more parking lots, more spaces where you're getting rid of grass and trees and introducing a black slate that absorbs the sun and then heats up the area around it and slowly burns our planet a little bit faster. Like, do we not understand how this shit spreads? Do we want the entire coastlines all across the world to look like the Jersey Shore? No. So let's get it together and understand what we're doing when we do things.